Hi, and welcome to Calculus Examples. I'm Dr. Finch. Today we're going to look at an example where we're integrating the following formula. So we have x over the square root of x squared plus 1 dx. You'll notice that it looks a little bit complicated in the denominator there. When we have something like that going on, a lot of times what we want to do is we want to look to something like a u-substitution. It is one of the most basic tools that we learn when we start working with integration. Super useful, super wonderful. And whenever you have a square root like that and a bunch of stuff underneath it that looks a little bit junky, that is what you want to do, use for your u value. So we're going to take everything underneath that square root and turn it into the u. Our du, of course, is going to be the derivative of that. So the derivative of 2x squared is bring our exponent down, subtract 1 for a new exponent, and our constant disappears. We also tack on a dx on the back side here. Now, you'll notice up in our integral over here, we don't have a 2x dx, but we do notice have an x and a dx right there. So we can see that right there. So let's move that 2 over to the other side. This is going to give us 1/2 du is equal to x dx. So there's our substitutions that we're going to use. This second one down here and the one up here. When we put that into our integration, so we're going to start off with our original function. And when we use our substitution, our square root, everything under there turns into a u, and then we end up with a 1/2 du in place of that x dx. There's a couple things we can do at this point. One thing is our 1/2 can come out front because constants, recall, can move about when we are taking an integral. They can be pulled out. The next thing that we might consider doing, and this is always a good idea when working with square roots, or almost always, is turning that square root into a fraction. So one thing to recall, apologize, my pencil is not working as well as it should be. Okay, one thing to recall is that square root of x is really x to the 1/2. And anytime we have x to some power in the denominator, that can be brought up to the numerator by putting a negative sign in front of it. So 1 over x to the a is really x to the negative a, which allows us together to take this square root in the denominator and turn it into a u to the negative 1/2 in our numerator. And let's not forget our du on the back side there. All right, now we are ready to integrate this because we have something that's simple that can be integrated. The 1/2 just comes along. Remember, when we have a situation like this, we add 1 to our power so that our new power is 1/2. Divide by our new power, 1/2. And when we don't have bounds, we have to add on the plus c. You'll notice here that the 1/2s are going to cancel out now because we are multiplying and dividing by 1/2. And we end up with u to the 1/2 plus c. One last thing, we started working with x's way back here, and when you start with x's, you want to end with x's. So we're going to go back here and we're going to use our original substitution, and in place of u, we're going to pop back in x squared plus 1. So we have x squared plus 1, and you can leave this to the 1/2, or you can switch it to a square root and add in that plus c at the end. So there is our beautiful little solution for a u substitution. Thank you for listening.